Hi everybody, welcome back. It's Amanda Ridout, health coach, and we are back with our favorite pharmacist and nutritionist and cosmetic chemist, Ben Fuchs. And today we're going to continue to talk about the several different types or kinds of acne, and we're going to do premenstrual acne, aren't we?
Yes, acne associated with the female menstrual cycle. And there's actually two kinds of acne that are associated with the female menstrual cycle. There's the kind of acne that is kind of an exaggerated form of traditional acne or a type of traditional acne. This will usually occur in women who have what we call androgenic acne, male hormone acne. Remember, male hormones don't mean just guys, right?
Right.
Women make male hormones. So women who are dealing with this androgenic acne, this male acne, will sometimes get an exacerbation of that right around day 21, or somewhere around day 7 to 10 days before they bleed. Day 20 to 21 to day 28. Somewhere in there, they'll get an exacerbation of their ordinary breakouts. That's if they're dealing with typical male hormone acne.
Okay.
The second type of acne that women will deal with premenstrually is related to the hormone estrogen, and it's not really traditional acne in the sense that it's not comedones and breakouts. It's more like bumps.
Yeah.
And it'll appear along the jawline. And this is related to the hormone estrogen. It's related to inflammation. Estrogen is a pro-inflammatory hormone. And even more importantly, metabolites or breakdown products, derivatives of estrogen, are very, very inflammatory. And so to deal with these kinds of breakouts, estrogenic breakouts, is going to be different than dealing with the progesterone-related or androgenic-related breakouts. You have two different kinds of premenstrual breakouts. You have the one kind that's a more traditional form of acne, and that will usually occur in women who are already acne-prone.
Right.
Okay, and that's got all the traditional, typical things that are associated with acne: oily skin and comedones and whiteheads and pimples, etc. And then you have the second type of acne, which occurs in women who aren't necessarily suffering with regular acne, but right around day 20, 21, up until day 28, they'll get these little bumps. Exactly, and they don't look like regular zits. They don't look like regular pimples. They're hard little bumps, and they're associated with inflammation, and they're associated with the hormone estrogen. So to deal with these two different types of acne, you got to have two different approaches. So let's take the first one, progesterone acne. Let's talk about that one first. So this is an acne that's related to the hormone progesterone. Progesterone has a lot of similarities with male hormones. So it will induce oiliness, it will make skin cells divide rapidly. All of the things that we associated with male hormone acne will be associated with progesterone-induced acne, and this is the kind of acne that looks like traditional acne, and it will flare up right around day 20, 21 to day 28. The way you deal with it is the same. You do the same things that you do with androgenic acne. You use supplements like vitamin A, vitamin E, zinc, selenium, retinoic acid topically, all the things we talked about with androgenic acne. You can also use things that help balance out progesterone. And this is where doctors will sometimes use birth control pills, because birth control pills contain estrogen. But you can use phytoestrogens, plant estrogens, of which soy is the most famous of the phytoestrogens. And this is where soy products can have some beneficial value, or components of soy that are called bioflavonoids. And these bioflavonoids are things like they have names like genistin or diazepam. I don't know if you've ever heard of these, but these are soy extracts that you could buy in a health food store, or you can eat fermented soy products. That's another thing that you could do for progesterone-induced androgenic type acne that's associated with the female menstrual cycle. So that's a more traditional type of acne, and this is an acne that's not as difficult to deal with. The second type of acne is much more difficult to deal with, and that's because it's not really a traditional type of acne. It's more associated with inflammation. And this is where the hormone estrogen becomes involved. And it's not even so much estrogen as it is estrogen breakdown products, how the body processes estrogen. Estrogen is processed in the digestive system through probiotics, good bacteria, and it's processed in the liver and partially involves the gallbladder. So women who are dealing with this kind of acne want to be focusing on the digestive system using probiotics, and they want to be focusing on the liver using fat metabolizing supplements, and there's a lot of them. And also fatty vitamins are also very important, and to a certain extent minerals. For example, the mineral selenium can be very important for balancing out for helping the body process estrogen. The mineral zinc can be involved with helping the body process estrogen as well. And zinc is just a good all-around skin supplement: 50 milligrams of zinc, 200 to 400 micrograms of selenium. A really interesting supplement for helping the body process estrogen is fucoidan, our favorite.
It is. It is one of our favorites.
I knew
Yeah.
you'd love that. I knew that. Fucoidan Z, exactly. Fucoidan has got some really interesting estrogen metabolizing properties, and this makes fucoidan, and by the way, this makes all estrogen processing supplements helpful for protecting against breast cancer, protecting against autoimmune diseases, and protecting against estrogen-induced problems in general. Estrogen can be a real troublemaker. Estrogen is estrogen is a stress hormone. Estrogen is a pro-inflammatory hormone. Estrogen is associated with PMS symptoms, premenstrual syndrome symptoms. So using fucoidan, using selenium, using zinc, using these nutrients that help the body process estrogen can help not just with acne, not just with blemishes, but with all of these other PMS and breast cancer and autoimmune diseases and all of these other estrogen-induced symptoms. The B vitamins, stupendously important for the skin in general, but for estrogen metabolism especially. Vitamin B6 is a must-have for all estrogen issues, and especially estrogen-induced acne, pyridoxine, vitamin B6.
Okay.
You don't want to necessarily take vitamin B6 by itself, and you don't want to take any of the B vitamins by themselves. You always want to take the B vitamins as a complex. But if you're going to take B6 by itself and you're going to take the B complex with it, maybe 100 to 200 milligrams of vitamin B6 a day.
Extra,
exactly.
Okay.
With your B complex. The Beyond Tangy Tangerine, by the way, is loaded with the B complex. One of the neatest things about the Beyond Tangy Tangerine is that the B complex content. Vitamin B5 is also very important for all skin issues, for all hormonal issues, and especially for estrogen issues. And vitamin B5 is one of my favorite skin vitamins, pantothenic acid. And like with vitamin B6, you don't want to just take vitamin B5. You want to take it with the entire complex. But you may want to take 500 to 1,000, even up to 2,000 or 3,000 milligrams of vitamin B5 a day, pantothenic acid a day, with your vitamin B6. Then there's this compound that's found in cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage. But in any case, the cruciferous vegetables contain compounds called glucurates, and these glucurates are very, very helpful for helping balance out estrogen for all estrogenic issues, but including estrogenic acne. You can actually, if you don't want to use the cruciferous vegetables, although it's a great idea to do that, to use cruciferous vegetables, you can get a supplement called calcium D-glucarate. You can buy that at a health food store, maybe 500 to 1,000 milligrams of calcium D-glucarate a day. And by the way, like with the other vitamins that we talked about for helping protect against estrogen issues, calcium D-glucarate is protective against breast cancer, it's protective against autoimmune diseases, it's protective against PMS issues, all your estrogenic kinds of inflammatory and other issues. Calcium D-glucarate can be protective. And then also progesterone cream. A lot of women are benefit from progesterone cream for estrogenic acne, for PMS symptoms, and for all estrogenic issues. If you don't want to use progesterone cream, and progesterone cream, the good stuff, requires a prescription.
From your compound pharmacy, right?
Exactly. If you don't want to go through the whole rigmarole of getting a prescription, having a compound pharmacist make it, get pregnenolone. Pregnenolone capsules, which you can buy at a health food store, 100 milligrams a day of pregnenolone. You can also use DHEA. That may cause a little skin oiliness, and some people have a problem with DHEA, but that's feasible as well. 50 milligrams of DHEA a day, anywhere from 10 to 50 milligrams of DHEA a day, and then like 100 to 200 milligrams of pregnenolone a day.
Okay.
The worst thing that will happen with the pregnenolone is it might make you a little drowsy, which might not be a bad thing if you want to take it before you go to bed. And then the DHEA, as I say, one of the side effects of DHEA is it can cause a little bit of skin oiliness, so you may not want to take too much of the DHEA.
Does that need to be taken in the morning, or does it matter?
DHEA?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then the last thing, well, not the last thing, a couple more things you could do to help protect against excess estrogen or problems with metabolizing estrogen is increase your fiber content. Fiber is one of the ways the body clears out estrogen. If you're eating a lot of processed food, a lot of times people subsisting on the standard American diet don't get enough fiber, and that can exacerbate things. So making sure you're getting enough fiber through vegetables. You can also grind up fiber, grind up hemp seed or flaxseed or chia seed.
Or all three.
Or all three together,
Yeah.
exactly. And then sprinkle it on salads or put it in your smoothie or whatever. That's another strategy. You can use bile salts. Bile is one of the ways that estrogen is cleared out of the body. This is why if you have a gallbladder, you may have, a lot of times when people lose their gallbladder, they don't have as much bile. Their bile system is not as strong. They're still making bile, but they don't have that big pool of bile available for the digestive process to ensue. So you may want to use bile salts. You get bile salts, and the ultimate enzymes have bile salts, or you can also just get straight bile salts. You can also help the body build bile. Bile, by the way, comes from cholesterol, so this is one of the major benefits of making sure you have enough cholesterol.
Right.
And, if you listen to me speak, cholesterol is way more important as a supplement than it is as something to avoid.
Right.
Not as a supplement, but as a health-inducing substance, much more than it is something that you want to stay away from. And bile comes from cholesterol. So if you want to upregulate by eating, you can get more cholesterol in your system by eating cholesterol-containing foods, which is ironic because we always hear we're supposed to stay away from cholesterol-containing foods. If you want to upregulate your cholesterol, which most people don't necessarily need to do, but if you did want to upregulate your cholesterol, carbohydrates are the best way to do that. Of course, not simple carbohydrates, but complex carbohydrates. That make sense?
Yeah, and eggs and butter and avocado and
great
skin
stuff,
of chicken.
All of that. Isn't that interesting? Skin of fish.
I know.
Isn't that interesting? We always hear we're supposed to stay away from that. See a couple other things. A fat metabolism, improving your body's ability to process and metabolize fats, and that's where probiotics come in. This is one of the hidden benefits of probiotics that nobody talks about, is probiotics, good bacteria that live in the gut, are very important for fat metabolism, and they're very important for estrogen metabolism, actually. So making sure that you're using a probiotic supplement and also eating fermented foods, and just keeping the intestines healthy in general. There's lots of supplements for doing that.
Yeah.
In fact, one supplement called glutamine can be very helpful for helping strengthen the digestive tract. In fact, glutamine is it's almost like fuel. Cells of the intestine use glutamine as a fuel source. So glutamine actually gives the cells of the intestine energy so they can do their work. And glutamine is also a building block for something called glutathione. Now, glutathione, I don't know if you've probably heard of glutathione. Glutathione is a great way to protect yourself from excess estrogen. So by using glutamine, not only will you be supporting intestinal health, thereby improving the body's ability to process estrogen, but you also have a raw material for making glutathione. And that's also important for it. It's a great supplement. It's tasteless. You can put it in water. You can just drink it. Kombucha. You ever hear of kombucha?
Uh-huh.
Kombucha.
I used to brew my own.
It's good stuff, right? Kombucha is great for a couple of reasons when it comes to estrogenic issues. Number one, kombucha is fermented, so it's a source of bacteria. But kombucha is also a source of something called butyric acid. Butyric acid is the stuff that gives butter its name and some of its characteristic taste. It's a fatty acid, and it's very important for helping the body process estrogen and process excess estrogen.
Okay.
So using kombucha has got two benefits. It can give you some of the probiotic support, and it can also give you the butyric acid. And of course, eating butter is another great way to get butyric acid.
I love butter.
Right? Everybody loves butter. And fiber. By the way, butter is a good source of minerals, too.
Yeah.
You don't talk about that. It's a good source of selenium, a good source of iodine.
Good.
Isn't it great stuff, right? Put your butter on your broccoli, and then you'll get your glucuronidase, your glucuronates, the glucuronic acid for helping process estrogen, and for the broccoli, and you'll get your butter, you'll get your butyric acid. So make sure you're using lots of butter and broccoli. These are all great strategies for taking care of yourself right before your period, not just for your skin, but for overall health.
Right.
And then butyric acid is also available from fiber. There's bacteria that live in your large intestine that can break down that fiber and release butyric acid. And butyric acid, as I say, is also very important for helping the body process estrogen.
Wow.
I know, there's lots of stuff. I always feel bad giving so much stuff because it can be kind of overwhelming.
That's okay. It's recorded and we can go back and listen and make notes.
And these are all options that we have available and nobody tells us about.
Right.
If you go to the doctor, you go to the dermatologist for premenstrual acne, you're going to get a birth control pill, or maybe you'll get an antibiotic, or you might get a topical product, something topical, but you're not going to get these wonderful nutritional supplements.
No.
Nobody's going to tell you about fucoidan and selenium, and B6 and the B complex. Speaking of topical, by the way, retinoic acid is always a great idea.
For the zits.
Or retinol and retinoic acid
Okay.
is always a good idea. Exfoliation is always a good idea using alpha hydroxy acids or beta hydroxy acids, salicylic acid.
And 99% of all these nutrients that you're talking about, we can get in the purest quality through longevity.
You can get the vast majority through longevity. The ones you can't get at a health food store.
Right.
One last thing I should tell you. I don't know if we've talked about PCOS. I think we talked a little bit about polycystic ovarian syndrome.
A little bit.
PCOS issues are sugar issues largely. They're also related to estrogen. So if you're dealing with the first type of acne, the kind of acne that's associated with oily skin and more traditional acne, not the inflammatory acne, but the more traditional acne, then you have PCOS issues, you're going to want to watch out for your sugar intake.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you keep your intake of refined processed flours and sugars, etc., down, and also using nutrients like chromium and vanadium and magnesium and taurine. These are all nutrients that can help you process sugar.
Yeah, and they work fabulous and fast.
The sweeties especially.
Oh my gosh.
Did you know the fucoidan helps you process sugar also? And you know the fucoidan is also they call it an anti-obesity agent. It keeps you from getting fat. Fucoidan, as if you don't have enough benefits from the fucoidan.
I know.
Anti-obesity benefits.
You know, everybody should be on fucoidan. It's just amazing. Skin, internal, everything.
It's as close to a panacea as you can get in the world of nutrition. Vitamin C probably is a little bit more of a panacea than fucoidan, but fucoidan is right up there.
Hey, we'll be getting both of them, so with our BTT, our Beyond Tangy Tangerine, and our Z Radical fucoidan. Yes. Okay, Ben, thank you once again. This is amazing information. It's information that we can use to get better and to get healthy and not have to depend on pharmaceuticals. And
that's really it. That's really what it's all about. Not to depend. We shouldn't feel like we don't have any options. We have to depend on the pharmaceutical model because you really don't.
Absolutely.
In fact, there's nothing the pharmaceutical model can do. At the end of the day, the pharmaceutical model is going to help you. It may mask your symptoms a little bit, but it's not going to help you. It's not going to help reverse any kind of disease process that's occurring. It's not going to make you get better. It's only going to put more toxic load on the body. And on top of everything else, you got to go to the doctor, and then you got to go to the pharmacy.
It's expensive.
You got to fill out forms and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You have a wonderful evening, and we'll be seeing you soon.
Good to see you.
Bye.